Hey y'all, welcome back to the Celestial Harvest. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about this really cool plant called a Peruvian Apple Cactus. I'm going to share with you some tips for propagating the plant, how you can take care of it, and we're going to talk about why I like to have it in my garden. One of the first things I love about this plant is that it's a very low maintenance plant. It's not going to require excessive waterings, really only about once a week. You don't have to worry too much about fertilizing the plant. One of the things that it does require, if you want to keep it under any kind of control, is a little bit of pruning, because this plant can actually grow up to 30 feet tall. It is a self-supporting plant, so it does hold itself upright on its own and it doesn't require any trellising. However, if you want to keep it at a manageable height, you're going to have to cut it back each fall. This particular cactus is said to be hardy in zones 8 through 11, so it's really a nice option for quite a range of folks who are growing produce. The fruit are very much like what you would expect from a dragon fruit, but I do feel like it's a bit sweeter. It looks very similar on the inside, but the outside of the Peruvian cactus is, the apple cactus is actually more round and it's a smooth surface.
This is what the fruit look like. I've already cut this one open. You can see the outside of it is nice and smooth. They will get a little bit bigger than this, and they do get a little more red when they're ripe.
The Peruvian apple cactus is also known as a night blooming cactus because this flower actually only blooms at night. If you don't have enough pollinators like bats to pollinate this plant for you, you may have to pollinate it by hand. Let me show you guys a couple methods of propagating this plant.
The first method of propagation I want to talk to you about is propagating via cuttings. This is actually super simple, but there are a couple of key things that you need to make sure that you're being aware of. First of all, you need to make sure that you're allowing the ends to callus over. This is a freshly cut cactus, and you can see it's nice and green. Everything is pretty plump. You can even see a little bit of white here, indicating that this is a fresh cut. This needs to callus over at least a week, if not 2. Another thing that I want you to be cognizant of is the fact that these are full of spines. These are actually up to about 1 inch in length, and you will need to invest in a good pair of gloves or you're going to be having some splinters in your hands. You're going to want to go ahead and remove any fruit that are existing on the plant. If you leave them on, it's going to take energy from the plant in producing roots, but you do want to pay attention to which end is upright, because if you try to plant the cactus upside down, it will not create roots. I've left this cactus to harden off for almost 2 weeks now outside, and you can see that the end of it is kind of a grayish color and it is well calloused over. At this point, it's safe for me to plant. This particular cutting that we're putting in the ground right now is actually going to be going on the south side of the house, and I've chosen to put it here for a couple of reasons. One, it's going to give it a little extra protection in the winter. 2, this particular area gets full sun all day long, and sun is really important for these plants. Another reason I've chosen this location is because of the fact that the ground here is super sandy and well draining. It's not going to hold the water. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to just dig a shallow hole. I really don't want this plant any deeper than about 1 inch, once again because I want to prevent the plant from rotting. I'm making sure that I have this upright, so as you can see the fruit are still on here. I will go ahead and remove them now that I know that it is pointing in the correct direction, because I do want to make sure that I'm encouraging root growth and that the plant isn't having to expend too much energy with continuing to grow the fruits. So I'm going to try to find the best position to keep this standing upright. I'll mound the soil just around the base, but really no deeper than about 1 inch. And then I'm just going to drive a couple of stakes in between the grooves straight down. This is just going to give it a little stability while it's rooting. I only have 2 here right now, but I will end up adding a 3rd one just to make sure that it's nice and secure and doesn't fall over if we have some storms. Once everything is in place and secured, I'm going to give it a good watering, and then I'm just going to make sure that I'm keeping it moist but not soaking wet while trying to encourage root growth. Now that you've seen the propagation method via cutting, I'm going to show you how you can make it happen with seeds as well.
Full disclosure about these guys, I have neglected them grossly, so they actually have not been well tended to and probably would be a little bit bigger if I had given them a little more attention. But these seeds, I just cut a fruit in half, scooped out the seeds, washed them, and then I laid them on a damp paper towel inside just a regular sandwich plastic bag, and they started to germinate right off within a week. And I have been just watering when there's no longer moisture in the bag, so I have been letting it almost entirely dry out. You can still see a little tiny bit of water droplets up there at the top of the bag. So while there's still moisture in there, I just pretty much leave it alone and let it have this little greenhouse. I will at some point go ahead and start opening the bag so that they can get used to room air humidity levels, because that will obviously be different. But these guys are about 2 inches tall and they have been in here for almost a year.
I hope y'all have enjoyed learning about this amazing plant. If you give it a try, please send me a comment, let me know. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.